Hey folks, want to look at a new plugin today. This just came out. I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through what's going on here. The Pulsar audio people have put out this 1178 plugin, and you may be thinking, why would I need another 1176 type plugin? And that's a good question. One of the reasons is because this is not quite the same as an 1176. These were made much later than the famous 1176s that we know. And one of the differences is that the 1176, let me pull one up here from Urei. These versions that were made by Urei in the early days were all Class A electronics. And the 1178, unfortunately, came around the time of the Rev F, I believe. It might have been Rev H. And that's a period of time when they started not using Class A amplifiers. So there's a difference in the amp circuit, and that causes it to sound a little bit different. It's a little bit dirtier sounding, which is something you may want. Let's start with the front of the plugin here. We have the actual unit down here at the bottom. And if I come up here to this little square up here, the toggle visible racks button, you can go through just looking at the unit, or you can go to the more digital looking version of it, and back to all of the controls and information that it can give you at once. Pretty cool. And so let's go through some of the controls right fast here. The 1178 was kind of birthed by the idea that people were using 1176s in stereo. There was a problem with that though, because when you use two 1176s, let me pull this back up here, you needed to use a connector in the back, and it wasn't a great connector. It ran off 9-volt batteries, and it was all kinds of unpredictable. And so the idea came along to make it stereo. And that's how we ended up with the 1178. The controls, if you look at these controls here, they are a left and a right control. We have an input, output, attack, release for both sides. So at the top, we have the left side, and at the bottom, we have the right side. We can link controls here. So if I leave this on, which comes on by default, what I do to the top will happen to the bottom. What's interesting about this to me is that if I turn this off and I change one of these, like say the left side, and I go back to here, they stay in the same order. In other words, they stay the same distance apart. So if something's a little wonky on one side and you need to fix that, then you can change one side and then link them again. Pretty cool. Moving on to the ratio side, we have the 4, 8, 12, 20, just like you would on an 1176 and an all buttons in mode. One of the things that Pulsar has added is this saturation side here, where we have a tape saturation, a triode, a warm, clip saturation, and we have a little cow button here. We'll get to that in a minute. This on button here is cool because it allows me to turn it on and off without getting any audio glitches or pops or clips when I hit the power button. And there's a mix knob. All really cool additions to the old style 1178. Moving up here, also we have the oversampling. So we have 2, 4, and 8 times oversampling that you can turn on. I will get to that in a little bit as well. One of the most interesting additions here to me is the sidechain addition, which Pulsar has done really great with how they've implemented this EQ. It's got sort of an intelligent mouse finder kind of thing going on here. So if I move the mouse over from the left side, if I go above the 0 line, it will, automatically assume that I want to put a low shelf on here, which is true. If I put it down here, it'll be, a high pass or a bell. I don't even have to tell it what to do. It sort of kind of figures it out. But if I happen to click on one like there, and I want to change the type of curve there, I can just do it here. I can hit this little button, and we'll come down here and turn that onto the high pass filter and move it up. Very cool. I like that. If you scroll over here, you actually see a little bit more information about what's going on. The source being internal sidechain or external. Right now, as you know, in Luna, there's no external sidechain available. So you can't really use that in Luna right now. Maybe they'll add that soon. But look ahead latency, you can turn that on and off. You can change the look ahead amount. I'm just going to leave those right now as they are. And on and off for the sidechain. Very cool. This graph right here is sort of a cool addition too, because you can see the gain reduction as it's happening to transients, which I think is a brilliant addition. I can, again, get rid of that just by hitting this, go back to whatever I'm used to seeing. Very cool. So what does it sound like? That's the main thing. I'm going to turn this off right now, and we'll listen to this drum pass. And on. Now I'm pushing that pretty hard into the circuit. If you will look at the gain reduction here, I'm hitting somewhere around 10, just on the 4:1 compression. I can back that off with the mix knob, so we get some of the original sound through. Back to there. But what's really cool about this plugin to me is the sidechain again. So I'll turn this on. I'm gonna roll this up around 100, yeah, somewhere around in there, and let the low pass right by the compressor. It's not even gonna go into the circuit. It's just gonna go right through it, and the rest of the signal will be processed. Awesome. I'm going to move this attack to a little bit slower. Again, I'm going to dial that back with the mix. Awesome. There's a little sidechain headphone here. You can actually listen to what's going directly to the compressor if you click on this. I'll move this up, so that's just giving you the signal going to the compressor and out. This is really helpful too. If I want to drive a certain area into the compressor more, I can add another EQ node here. I can change this to maybe a bell, and that means I'll push more of, say, 1.9 or 2K into the circuit a little higher than the other parts of the signal, and the compressor will react to that part more than the others. Lots of control. This is a really cool idea how they've implemented this. In the saturation side over here, it looks like we have 4 different types of saturation, but honestly there's 5. If this part here is off, it's actually still got saturation. It's just the normal saturation from the compressor. These other ones are sort of bolted on to the end of it. And the first one, the tape, move this calibration tool here back to 0. The tape, I assume it's tape. In the manual, it doesn't really tell me what these are. The triode is a triode, that's a tube. Don't know what the worm is, but the clip is probably more like a digital clip. And let's listen to it. So I'll start with the off position. Let's go to tape. I'm gonna stop right there. That does not sound like tape to me. It's cool, but it does not sound like a tape distortion, which is why we have a calibration setting over here. So if I pull this down, I'm going to pull it all the way down and then move it up a bit. That to me does sound more like a tape that's being hit way too hard. The triode, yeah, again, it sounds okay at very low calibration. Not really what I would expect a triode tube to do, but it sounds cool. Let's hear what warm does. Interesting. And clip. Okay, yeah, at low settings, I think they could be usable. Or if we pull the mix way back, so let me set this up here on maybe around 10 o'clock on that set screw. I'm gonna go back to the tape 0% mix. Well, no, I don't like that at all. So I'm going to turn that off. A neat idea, but I would probably need to play with that some more to get something I like. Interesting sound though. The other controls here on the front of the plugin are the left, right, and mid-side controls. So you can run this in mid-side or left and right. And the sidechain link, unlink, or invert. This is kind of interesting. If I link the sidechain, that means that this filter will be applied at the exact amount to both sides of the sound. That means that the compression is happening at the same amount on left and right no matter what. If I unlink it, it becomes like a true stereo compressor, if that makes sense. If a signal comes in on the left side that's louder than the right side, then the left side will compress more. Let's see if I can set something up like that. Let me see. I'll put this snare on the left and the kick on the right. See, they're reacting very differently there, but if I link them, it sounds weird, but it's because it's unbalanced. But you could see there that the compression acts exactly the same on both sides if they're linked. That can be very useful. And the invert. This is actually kind of cool. The invert, it means that if a signal comes in really loud on the left side, the right side is what will get pushed down into compression. It's basically switching the circuit from what's input to output. It's very cool. If I do this, I'm gonna hit you see the kick drum is going all the way to the right, but the compression is really happening on the left channel because the circuits have been inverted. And you're hearing my echo rack happening there. Okay. Pretty cool. I'm not sure when I would use that, but it's a really cool idea. Lots of creative possibilities there. Again, this is the Pulsar Audio 1178. Really neat plugin. I've been demoing this for a few days. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and more videos are coming very soon.